On your Friday episode of Locked On Raptors, Scottie Barnes is an all-star, but how cool of an all-star is he? Plus, the most in-depth skills challenge preview you will find anywhere on the whole wide internet.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Friday, February the 16th. All-Star Weekend is here, and I'm your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Toronto Raptors now for 10 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on the website that sucks, at Woodley Sean. You can find the show on Instagram at Locked On Raptors. And of course, you can join us on the Locked On Raptors Discord server. The link is in the description of the podcast. It's the second best podcast Discord there is, behind the Discord run by the guy who's on today's podcast, who we'll get to in just 1 second. Of course, you can find the show for free wherever you get your podcasts. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Always appreciate it however you support the show. And we're on YouTube as well. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the little notification bell when you do, and you'll get a heads up every single time the show is about to premiere or go live or whatever. You get a push notification saying, hey, stop everything you're doing. Sean's talking, which is the best push notification you could possibly want to receive. And today
that
on the show,
happens on my Discord.
There you go. There you
Sean,
go.
not you, Sean, but a different Sean is talking. It gives you a push notification.
That voice you're hearing is Joey Devine, one of the co-hosts of the temporary co-host, that is, of the RoundBall Rock podcast, the best basketball podcast there is. And Joey, you are here for a very specific reason. And no, it is not to talk about NBAI, the thing everyone's very excited about. No, we're talking about the skills challenge because it's the best of all of the skills things on All-Star Saturday night, save for the dunk contest, obviously. We're going to talk about that, Scottie Barnes' involvement in it. We're going to talk about Scottie Barnes' quality as an All-Star himself. But first, Joey, how the hell are you, buddy?
I'm pretty good. I'm very excited about NBAI. God, it's the worst. Because I've always wanted to tell a robot to make a video, make a basketball game I'm watching look like NBA Live 95 on the PlayStation 1, which is what happens when they tell it to look like a Spider-Man movie in that demo. The guys look insane and bad. It's crazy that we're selling that so hard.
It's very cool, the sports business environment we're in, where all of the ideas are very good and things people are definitely asking for. It's cool. Like I said, we're going to get into some skills challenge talk coming up, as Joey, much like me, is a skills challenge acolyte.
It's the best part.
It's so good.
NBA Saturday. Like
everyone else is a loser.
It should be longer and fun. Look, I'm just into obstacle courses in general.
Tend to very much agree there. And I do think our wish for a longer, more prolonged skills challenge might actually come through with the format they have for this year. We're going to run through the format. We're going to run through our favorites. We're going to run through Scottie Barnes' involvement. But we should start, Joey, with Scottie Barnes himself.
Sure.
He's an all-star, an injury replacement, but an all-star. He's also in the Eastern Conference, but again, an all-star nonetheless. And, not all All-Stars are created equal. I did want to take a second here. You are I would say, a sort of historian of NBA All-Star weekends over the years.
Sure.
You watch a lot of basketball.
Yeah,
you know a lot of what has happened. You can recall things that have taken place. No one appreciates the John Collins airplane dunk quite like you.
The greatest moment in television history.
I've
never laughed harder than watching John Collins do the airplane dunk in my life.
Pretty fantastic. But before we kind of dig into the skills challenge stuff, I do want to talk about where Scottie kind of falls on the continuum of All-Stars.
Well, I don't want to offend Raptors fans, but
that's fine. They're offended very easily. That's on them. It's cool. We have an adversarial relationship, and that's the way this works. But so All-Stars, again, not all created equal. Some are Devin Harris. Some are Shaquille O'Neal. Every other All-Star is kind of in the
Shaq's
middle there.
a whack All-Star, actually. Like,
really?
I mean,
would you say is,
Shaq as
like,
a
the
guy
peak
is
all-star? Who would you
great.
say- Yeah.
I mean, Tracy McGrady threw it off the backboard to himself in an All-Star game. He's the first guy I remember doing that.
Mhm.
Because I rank it based on fun, right? And
Okay.
Shaq's game was not fun in an All-Star game, right?
Sure, he
Like,
was more antics than game, I suppose.
right.
Yeah.
Shaq is fun around the All-Star game, and Shaq's a fun guy, but his game is still backing it down and very slowly and then drop stepping for a dunk. I mean, he was kind of fun, but I don't know. I think your most fun all-stars ever are like guys who are going to try and dunk all the time, right?
Right.
It's like Russell Westbrook was a really fun all-star.
Mhm.
I would say T-Mac, of course. Vince Carter, sorry,
Sure.
Raptors fans.
Yeah.
Um,
That's okay. The cool all-star Vince was while he was a Raptor. You can never
yeah.
take that away from us.
I mean, Steph is a fun all-star because he'll just start shooting from half court. Um, I would say one of the worst modern all-stars is James Harden because he's hungover every single time. He does not try in the game where no one is playing defense, and like foul grifting doesn't really work when no one is playing defense.
Right, right.
I would say on the continuum of fun all-stars, Scottie is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. What makes you say that? Because I think there are arguments for and against him as a cool and good all-star. Like he's not gonna do the 3-point shooting exploits or anything like that. A lot of his value has come from defense this year, which is obviously not
Boring.
exciting in an all-star
Yeah.
game. But
Although
he
you
throws
are
no
a man,
passes.
he does throw crazy passes. That's true.
Mhm. He also
He
dunks hard.
can dunk hard, but he's not famous enough where guys are going to be trying to throw him alley-oops constantly.
Right. That's fair.
And you just can't be like a guy who's going to play 8 minutes in an all-star game and be a fun all-star. You know?
That's fair. So let's go through Raptors All-Stars of yore and compare
Mhm.
Scottie Barnes as far as just all-star quality. Obviously,
Sure.
like I guess most recently was Pascal Siakam. Would you say Scottie cooler or less cool all-star than Pascal?
His game fits better, I feel like.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
he doesn't have the Spicy P nickname. I would say they're about the same. They're about the
Okay.
same level of fun all-star.
Okay. Previous to that, Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard is a terrible all-star.
Has he
I
won
love
an MVP
Kawhi.
of an all-star game before?
Did he?
I
He
feel like
might have.
did.
I don't think so though. He might have.
He did in 2020. He won
Weird.
All-Star MVP, which is
Weird. I don't
really
even
bizarre.
remember that. So I mean, I guess he's got to be above Scottie simply because he won the MVP of the All-Star game.
He wasn't even the coolest. He wasn't a Raptor during that season. That was his first year with the Clippers. That was the year where Kyle Lowry, of course, saved the All-Star game,
No,
taking charges on him. It was cool.
No, it was
okay,
not
so
cool.
where does
We've
Kyle
argued
Lowry
about this
fall then
before.
compared to Scottie
So,
Barnes?
If you're trying to take all charges in the All-Star game, you're at the bottom. A charge is the least fun thing you can do in the NBA because inevitably you're taking away a dunk. And if you're trying to do it in the All-Star game, it's embarrassing. No, absolutely not. And I love Kyle Lowry. I want to make that very clear.
This Kyle Lowry All-Star game is one of the best things that's happened to Toronto Raptors fans since the NBA championship in 2019.
I mean,
it's not like if you're going to piss anybody off, it's with this insane take. It was cool. He made the All-Star game competitive and fun. He made people try. He pointed, he did finger guns at Kawhi after taking a charge on him.
Trying to take charges is not going to make people try. This is copium. This is insane. If an Indiana Pacer was doing this, you would have lost your mind. You would have been so mad.
Oh, certainly would have. It was Kemba Walker doing it. Of course, This is bad. This is bad for the All-Star game. But Kyle Lowry doing it, He's the reason I still think Chargers are cool. But anyway, that All-Star game, he's also dunked in an All-Star game before, Kyle has, which I think is helpful.
Cool.
A small guy dunking is cool.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing you think below Scottie as far as cool All-Stars go?
I mean, I think he's above Scottie, even though I hated his behavior just because of how memorable it is. You know?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
I just don't expect Scottie this year to do anything all that memorable in the All-Star game. And I could be wrong. I love Scottie.
I hope he throws some cool passes.
Yeah,
be
same. I hope he does that thing what he did in college where he goes behind his back to dunk it.
I forgot about Fred VanVleet, also a former
bad
All-Star.
Terrible
bad
All-Star.
Horrible
Yeah,
All-Star. Sorry, Fred. Not a good
Yeah.
All-Star. DeMar DeRozan.
Good All-Star. Loves to dunk it. A lot of big dunks. Yeah, DeMar's just a cool guy anyway. He's up there. He's your leader so far.
Interesting. Okay. We got Chris Bosh next. I didn't even like him as an All-Star when I was a young Raptors fan.
But I will say he's above Kyle.
Okay. Because
he was the first guy I remember making funny videos to try and make the All-Star.
Sure. The car salesman.
The car salesman commercial. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun All-Star behavior. Because look, Paul Millsap, maybe one of the worst All-Stars ever from a fun standpoint. But before the game, he gave a bunch of interviews declaring he was going to be street ball Paul. And people were going to be very surprised at how fun his game was. And then he just played normally. That's hilarious. That makes him a top 20 all-time funny, all-time All-Star. That is amazing. It's the greatest. I think about street ball Paul this time of year every time.
And that's why you're on this podcast. You're
Scottie Barnes gave an interview saying he was going to be street ball Scottie. He might be the top of this list.
Just a couple more previous Raptors All-Star. We mentioned Vince Carter. Is Vince Carter like an S tier All-Star historically?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. Yeah. And then the other Raptors All-Star to end it on a dud, Antonio Davis, better or worse than Scottie as an All-Star?
Way worse, but he's might be at the bottom. And
Antonio Davis or Jamal McGlure is the real question from that same year.
I mean, Antonio Davis is worse than Jamal McGlure because Jamal McGlure is such a weird and bad All-Star. It rises him up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
Does it make sense that Antonio Davis made an All-Star team? It never has made sense that Jamal McGlure made one.
Yeah. That I think is. He averaged 13 and 9 when he made that All-Star game. Crazy stuff, and was on the same team as Antonio Davis on that All-Star, a really, really bad All-Star game. That's, I think, a pretty good way to leave off our opening block here. We'll come back on the other side, Joey, and it's time for the thing everyone's here for. It's skills challenge preview time. The best of the events. Scottie Barnes is involved. We're going to go as deep as you could possibly go on the Kia Skills Challenge coming up in just 1 second. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at eBay Motors, and our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. Let's see who Josh has picked out for us on this week's eBay Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. And look, if you're anything like me in the Locked On Raptors Listener League, there are a lot of players just not available. We have 16 freaking teams. You got to find things at the very bottom of the barrel, baby. And some guys who might fit that category. This is not to slight them at all. They're just available in deep leagues. Marvin Bagley III, I forget what team he's on. The Wizards, maybe that's the pick. I don't know. Cody Martin's there too, but why not Benedict Mathurin? Of course, Buddy Hield's in Philadelphia now. Ben Mathurin going to get some extra minutes playing next to Pascal Siakam. We know what playing next to Pascal Siakam can do for your shot quality. Why not go and pick up Benedict Mathurin if he's there to get some extra fantasy juice for your squad this week and beyond. Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is all about each player being a perfect fit. The same goes for your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. We continue on talking All-Star with our pal Joey Devine from the wonderful RoundBall Rock podcast, which everyone should go and subscribe to and pay money to the Patreon for as well. So you can hear things like fists like Thanksgiving turkeys and other, I think just
How
like
much do the
critique of
Warriors
good
suck?
art. Yeah, how much do the Warriors suck? Another
Yeah.
great.
There is there's a
thread.
lost episode of how much do the Warriors suck with Sean Woodley, because
I
we
meant to
recorded
ask you
it.
about that. What happened there?
The Warriors coach died, and then I felt bad releasing a podcast where we were mean to the Golden State Warriors for
I think that's
90
an
minutes.
acceptable reason
Yeah.
to bump that.
Yeah.
Just put it under a more expensive Patreon tier, maybe, for people
Yeah.
to be able to hear it. Skills challenge, Joey.
Mhm.
Skills challenge. Oft debated. Some people just want it gone forever. Those people are wrong. Just because they haven't quite nailed the format doesn't mean that there's not some legs to
Well,
this whole
I
thing,
do
right?
think it's less a format problem and more. I think they need to add weirder things to
Right.
it. Like make them dribble across a balance beam or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I want more Ninja Warrior style obstacles in the
Sure.
skills challenge. Like,
Alligator pool.
yeah, or like alligator pools are really good. I don't know, like some kind of monkey bar thing where you dunk off the monkey bars, you know, something like that.
Even something where like you have to score your bucket at the end, but it's like against a mascot of some other
Or
team's
dunk
choosing.
on a guy.
Yeah. Like Rudy Gobert is just out there to get dunked on.
Or just like a
something
coach with the big foam things that
Yep.
they, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
also more passes.
Mhm.
There should be way more passes in it. I want to see, you got to throw an outlet, you got to throw a bounce pass, you got to throw a behind the back pass, you know, like, because that's always what messes people up. Is the
Absolutely.
pass.
The
Yeah.
thing that gets me with the passes, Joey, is they always give the cop out of, well, if you miss 3 times, you move on.
No, take that
sucks.
away. That's gotta go.
Just like make someone sit there for
Mhm.
20 minutes if they have to, trying to feed a pass through a hole 10 feet away.
I
That
also
is good TV to me.
think there should be levels to it, right?
Okay.
Like, I want to see, instead of what, it's very weird that we're like, okay, Paolo Banchero and Anthony Edwards are the same thing in this skills challenge, right? Trae Young and Victor Wembanyama, same. You know, like, I want to see ones where it's like, we've done all big guy ones before, and it used to be all guards, but I want to see an even deeper level to it, right? Where it's like backup centers. It's like
Dayron Sharp out there.
It's like Duop Reith versus Kevon Looney. You know what I mean? In the skills challenge.
Well, they have changed the format for this year, Joey, and I do think some of our wishes have been granted. I see nothing in the PDF from the NBA regarding alligator pools or monkey bars. However, there are some changes to the format. And so are you familiar with the changes? Do you know what the format is going to be? Okay.
Well, I know they're teams again, which
Yeah.
I'm never into when they do teams in these things.
So yes,
except for Shooting Stars. Shooting Stars was a good team challenge.
Bring back Shooting Stars. Yes. Also fully endorsed. So, okay. 3 teams of 3 this year. You have Team Pacers, Tyrese Halibuton, Benedict Mathurin, aforementioned in the ad read, and Miles Turner. Those three guys will be going at it for the Pacers. You have team top picks, just guys taken first overall. Very stupid. Paolo Banchero, Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama. Cool team, but stupid the way they got there.
Yeah.
And then just team All-Stars, which is Scottie Barnes, Tyrese Maxey, and Trae Young. Team All-Star injury replacements almost, if not for Maxey. So those are the teams that'll be competing. Let me go through the format. It's a 3-round format that features a team relay, a team passing round, and a team shooting round. And I think there's some pretty interesting stuff in all of here. So the relay, I'll just read straight from the NBA. This might be dry podcasting. Feel free to stop me anytime, Joey, if you have thoughts that you want to interject with. Teams compete one at a time. All players from each team participate in a timed relay. Each player must complete the course. It begins with a 35-foot outlet pass at a moving target from the baseline. Complete the pass to move on, or max 3 valid attempts. That's bad. More
5
failed
attempts. Should be at least 5.
Agreed. You can just spam the quick 3 passes.
Yeah.
I guess the valid attempts thing there makes it a little bit more stringent. Then you get dribbled down court through 3 moving pylons.
Oh, they're moving?
Yeah.
All right. I'm into.
Then,
I wish they would make them do like a behind the back dribble behind one of them, around one of them. You know, like
we might get there.
Stipulate you have to do a move around the guy. You know,
that would be cool. That would be sweet. We might get there. We'll see. There's lots of text in these rules. The next is a short shot in the lane, max 3 valid attempts. Move on after make or 3 attempts. Left corner 3-point shot, max 3 valid attempts. Move on after a make. And in this case, they just have automated defender as a thing that's involved here. So, all right, like some sort of NBAI brought to life to defend you in the corner. Batman version of Victor Wembanyama. I don't know. But that is a thing to note here. Then dribble to the opposite goal and make a basket, dunk, layup, jump shot, etc. So open to your interpretation. I guess that's cool, I suppose. Better than just a layup. Then next player starts when either rebounds the previous player's shot or receives a pass from the previous player after the made basket. And then the first team sets the time to beat, and then everyone else is competing against that time. The winning team earns 100 challenge points. Which is, I don't know.
There's a currency involved here? All right.
Yeah. The currency is then dispersed by King Cake Baby or something. I mean, in a dream world. Teams choose one player to repeat the course for a tiebreaker. The team with the fastest time in the tiebreaker round wins there.
So the tiebreaker will be, let's see if we can guess. It'll be Tyrese Halibuton versus Tyrese Maxey versus Anthony Edwards, probably.
Yeah, that sounds probably right. Although Scottie is a very accurate passer. Maybe they want that accurate passing in there for
I think if you're these guys, you're just like you view foot speed, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Maxey is very fast.
Yeah.
Round 2 is team passing. Teams compete one at a time. Each team has 30 seconds to amass points. All 3 players participate together. Each team must make at least 1 pass attempt at each target. Individual players cannot make consecutive passes at the same target. This sounds confusing for the players involved. All passes must originate from the designated areas near the baseline and must be made at the target immediately in front of the designated area. So you get the oversized passing targets is a 35-foot outlet pass, forward and back moving target, a 20-foot bounce pass at a side-to-side moving target, and a 25-foot chest pass forward and back moving target. Each worth their
round
own
is
set of
just
points.
going to be guys missing passes. It's going to be depressing.
But there's no cop out here though. You got to pass until you get as many points as possible. So that's good. The team with the most total points, you get 2 points for the 35-foot outlet pass.
This sounds like it's going to be really long to set up. There's going to be so many commercial breaks in this.
I'm so excited for how mad it's going to make people. It's great. The tiebreaker is the most number of passes made. The second tiebreaker is number of chest passes made. And the third tiebreaker is total number of outlet passes made. So there you go. And then the top team, of course, gets 100 challenge points. Then team shooting. This one sounds like it could be kind of fun. Teams compete one at a time. All 3 players participate with 1 ball. Each team has 60 seconds to amass points while shooting from 5 different spots in the court. Each team must attempt their first shot from spot 5, which is a right slot, 30-foot deep 3-pointer. You have each player alternating in shot locations. Teams cannot repeat the same shot consecutively. So the spots you can shoot from: right side, 10-foot shot outside the lane, left elbow extended, top of the key 3-pointer, left corner 3-pointer, and right slot 30-foot deep 3-pointer, ascending from 1 to 5 points in value from each of those.
But
the winning team
start from 5. Everyone starts shooting a 5-pointer.
Okay. Yes, and they only have one ball to do it with between the three of them. So there's like
Sure.
some coordination going on here. I don't hate this, Joey. It sounds almost like they're inching towards bringing shooting stars back.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And so the tied teams will, in a tiebreaker, will choose one player from respectives from each team to shoot from spot 5. Each player, or the first player to make it, will move on. And then the tiebreaker at the very end is a half-court shot competition. If everyone's tied, then the teams compete one at a time. The first team to hit a half-court shot wins the game. Thoughts on the format before we dive into our predictions on the other side of the break? Thoughts on this format, Joey? Are you hopeful for what this can be?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Scottie in that last round, gonna be honest.
The shooting one?
Yeah.
Hey, man, that's a 36% three-point shooter you're talking about.
I know, but
29 in the last month.
It feels like Trey might be carrying Team All-Stars based on what I just heard there. I mean, I will say this is rigged for Team Pacers. But anyway, let's go to your break. I like it. It sounds fun. I'm not usually into team challenges. When they did the team dunk contest that one time, it was the worst thing that had ever happened to me.
It robbed Terrence Ross of a rightful repeat championship in the dunk contest. It sucked. But yeah, we'll come back on the other side, Joey. We'll get into our predictions for who is going to win the skills challenge and the other competitions, the less important stuff going on NBA All-Star Saturday night, coming up in just one sec. Today's show is brought to you by Robinhood Retirement. Did you know that if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your entertainment thanks to their IRA with 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC is a registered broker-dealer. And we continue on here. Joey Devine from RoundBall Rock here as we talk about All-Star Weekend. All right, so we've laid out the rules. We know the field of play. Who you got in the skills challenge? You got Team Pacers, Team Top Picks, or Team All-Stars, Joey? Who are you leaning? I think Vegas has Team Top Picks as the favorites, as if that is a thing you can actually go bet on.
I don't think Team Top Picks is going to be very good at the passing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Anthony Edwards, I don't think that's like his bag necessarily, right?
I think Team Pacers is easily the favorite here, actually.
Really?
Because the NBA always kind of rigs it for the home teams and any of these things. And I think when it comes to shooting, you just put Miles Turner at the top of the key and Tyrese Halibuton at the 5-point spot and Mathurin running around rebounding.
Yes. I also wonder about, like, is Turner the guy who can dribble the least of this group? And does that hurt them in the obstacle course part? Is Wembanyama too big to dribble it? That might be a thing.
I think Wemby's going to be awesome in this. I worry more about Paolo in this, actually. Because, like, Paolo is super skilled and amazing, obviously, but it's in sort of a different way than dribbling around moving targets. And I worry about Edwards in the passing and the shooting, kind of, actually.
Yeah.
I think Wemby's going to be awesome at this. I think Trae Young is probably going to be really good at this.
Mhm.
Because he's a really good passer. He's not as good of a shooter as people think he is, but when no one is on him, I imagine he's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Maxi's going to be that good at this. I might be wrong, but
Also a really good shooter, man. I don't know. I kind of think Team All-Stars is going to win. It's a good mix of, this is not a homer pick either, because I really don't care. But
Maxey to me seems like a guy who's going to brick so many passes.
That's a distinct possibility. He's used to just throwing it in the general direction of Joel Embiid and not really having to pinpoint a target. I get that. I feel like the passing, I think Scottie and Trae are very clearly going to outshine these other teams. Like Halibuton on his own will do a good job. I'm not sure. I'm pretty worried about Turner and Mathurin on
but from an athletic standpoint, right? Just like straight line speed, like Mathurin and Edwards are like a cut above all these guys.
Maxi's the fastest guy here, I think.
Yes,
that's his whole thing.
It's true, but he's also a guy whose physicals weren't so strong. He was a lottery pick.
It's true. I do think Scottie Barnes is also like sneaky fast for a guy who's 6'9". Like he can go coast
for a guy
to
who's
coast very quickly.
But like he's not like. I mean, Mathurin. Look, to defend Benedict Mathurin, who is not the most famous guy in this. Mathurin is like one of those he's like a Richard Jefferson type. You know what I mean?
Sure.
He's like one of those classic Arizona wings that is just like a psycho athlete.
Oh, Stanley Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
Been so much better for you, man. Yeah, I think Turner, his handle, I feel like is going to be a liability, and I think the passing one's going to be a challenge for the Pacers.
But
I think I'm down to top picks or All-Stars, and I think All-Stars has the juice, man.
I don't know. I think they're going to be bad. I think you are overrating Scottie's passing. He's like a good NBA passer, but there's always a guy you think is going to be really good at passing who bricks like 1,000 passes.
Maybe it's Haliburton.
It's not going to be Haliburton. It's not going to be Haliburton or Young. It will be any of these other guys. And unfortunately, I think it might be Scottie and Maxey.
Wow. The Locked On Raptors faithful are going to come for your head, Joey.
Well, I don't think Paolo or Edwards are going to be very good at it either.
No. Yeah, Victor's going to have to carry team top picks, I think, pretty significantly as well. Anyway, we can agree to disagree. I'm taking Team All-Stars. You're taking
Team Pacers.
All right. The other stuff.
The other thing I think that helps with Team Pacers is all year they're used to playing frantically. None of these other teams, any of them, are on this weird are on a weird pace team.
Right.
You know what I mean? They've got the wind, is what I'm saying.
And like
on their backs.
I suppose if you're the Pacers, like moving pylons are basically what you're up against in practice playing against the Indiana Pacers every day. So,
and then also, I just think they're going to care more because you can't lose at home. You just.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm going Team All-Stars with my pick. Let's go very quickly to the worst event, 3-point contest, basically the home run derby.
Well, there's a worse 3-point contest, though. We've
Which
two
one?
3-point contests this year.
There are. Are you against the idea of Steph against Sabrina Ionescu?
No, it's fine. I just think everyone always talks about how good the 3-point contest is, and I find it to be incredibly boring.
Yeah, it's like the home run derby without the big home runs. It's just the same thing over and over again. There's no like creativity to it or strategy. It's just shoot threes. It stinks. It's bad.
And I'm going to tell you right now, he's my favorite player ever. No one has brought me more joy in my entire life than Steph Curry. He is going to lose this 3-point shootout to Sabrina. He lost a 3-point shootout to Paul Pierce one year.
Yep.
And you know who's a better shooter than Paul Pierce? Sabrina Ionescu.
Yes. Losing to Paul Pierce in a 3-point contest is a pretty great indignity to suffer. So the participants are Lillard, Brunson, Halibuton, Markkanen, Malik Beasley, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, Karl Anthony Towns. Do you have a pick on this one? Do you care?
I think Trae Young's going to win it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't think.
Here's why. Here's why I think he's going to win it. Because everyone made such a big deal about him not making the All-Star weekend. And if we know anything about Trae Young, it's he likes being he excels when he's a villain, and not being invited and then being invited late is like real villain stuff. You know what I mean?
You're making an argument for Team All-Star to win the.
I just don't think he's going to care. I don't think he's going to care about the skills challenge.
All right. Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I don't care. It's a bad event. I'll say Markkanen. Why not? He seems like good at shooting. They're all good at shooting. I think Haliburton's too slow on the release to get through all of the balls.
I also could see Donovan Mitchell winning this.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of thing.
It's so weird he's there.
Yeah,
like I love Donovan Mitchell, but he's not like I'm never like that guy's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league.
Right.
Malik Beasley, a lot of people are choosing Malik Beasley. He had the yips like a year ago. Like the Lakers could not play him.
Let's move on to a better event, the dunk contest. Everyone every year wants the dunk contest to go away. And look, it's a weird field this year.
A weird field.
But that seems to me like a possibility for all kinds of fun. It's Jaylen Brown, which is kind of insane. And as a J.E. Skeets noted, like we're probably not talking enough about an all-NBA player choosing to do the dunk contest. Pretty neat. Jaime Jaquez Jr.,
The problem is we're not talking about it because Jaylen Brown is kind of an embarrassing all-NBA player. Like
that is 100% true.
People like Jaylen Brown as a basketball player, but as a personality, he's that video of him dancing in that parking lot. Just like there's a lot of stuff with Jaylen Brown where it's like, you're so cool. Could you be slightly cooler, please?
Yeah. I hear that completely. You got Mac McClung, the defending champion of the Osceola Magic, and Jacob Toppin, who I realized like 2 weeks ago is
Obi
in the NBA.
Obi Toppin's brother.
Obi Toppin's brother. So yeah,
and Jaime Jaquez Jr.
Yeah, I listed him after Jaylen
Triple
Brown.
J, Jaime Jaquez Jr.
Who you got in this one? Do you like Mac McClung's existence in this thing?
I mean, no, I don't like his existence in this thing, and unfortunately, I don't like that. I think he's gonna win it again. Again, it's funny that they finally did this because I made this argument for years that they should just put the winner of the G League dunk contest in the real dunk contest every year.
Because then you'd have Joey.
Because then you'd have a guy who really cared and who like really needed the money. You know what I mean? Like, and that's happening. Unfortunately, it's happening with a very, very embarrassing YouTube G League man, Mac McClung. But I just think he's going to win it again. I love Jaime Jaquez. I don't really think of him as a big-time dunker, though.
Not at all. No.
Yeah. Jaylen Brown is a big-time dunker, but it sort of is going to remind me of the time Gerald Wallace was in the dunk contest way too late. Do you remember that when old Gerald Wallace was in the dunk contest?
Yeah, I feel like you need like younger, quick twitch fiber muscles to do the dunk contest properly. It feels like it's going to be rather stiff from Jaylen Brown, even though he's 26. He's not that old, but
right.
Yeah, just like he seems like he's got too many miles on him to contort the way you need to contort for a dunk contest.
But yeah, Gerald Wallace was in the dunk contest in 2002. And then in 2010.
That's wild. Is that the widest gulf between appearances?
It has to be, right?
Yeah. Unless like Nate Robinson might have. He was just in it a whole bunch for a lot of years there. So
Yeah.
maybe it's not a big difference in years. But yeah, that's a long time.
It's
Old
just,
Gerald,
but
the
I
old
mean,
cat.
Jaylen Brown's really good at dunking, so it's possible.
But he's like straight line dunking, right? Like he's not
That's
doing
okay.
crazy stuff.
He can do like cool windmills and stuff. He jumps
Yeah.
really high.
That's true. I mean, I would like to see Jaylen Brown win it just so like other big famous players are like, hey, maybe we can do this. But I don't think he's got a chance to win. No. It sucks that Mac McClung is definitely winning this damn thing again. We'll be in it again next year. It's going to be the worst. Joey, that feels like a good place to leave it, man. Thank you for hanging out and talking All-Star. I know it's your fave. I know you just can't get enough of it. We didn't even talk about
I actually hate the All-Star game. No, it's the worst part.
No,
there have been weeks.
Game with
we didn't talk about the best game, actually, which is, of course, the celebrity game, which you'll have to hear me talk about on RoundBall Rock, where we preview the celebrity game every year. That is the only thing we do for our All-Star preview. We don't make picks. We just talk celebrity game.
That is why we did not talk about it here, because I didn't want to infringe upon your well-trodden ground as the foremost podcast. This can be the Skills Challenge podcast going forward. You guys have the celebrity game cornered. We'll see if Keith Parrish, as he goes through podcast transition, wants to become the shooting stars guy.
I bet Keith likes the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
You know what we need, actually? And Keith would love this. We need some kind of ref challenge.
Oh, like when who raced Charles Barkley?
I don't mean that. I mean the refs need to be competing against each other.
Like in basketball skills, or like at calling?
No, in ref skills, like loudest whistle, quickest play review,
most theatrical charge call.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Backwards run.
Yeah.
What I mean, like,
we're cooking now. Yeah.
Quickest taking the ball out of the basket and handing it to a guy.
I need there to be some stakes when Tony Brothers tears his Achilles in a game, and it's like, no, I can't do the skills challenge now. Yeah.
That's what I want now.
Yeah. Me too. That's a perfect place to leave this. Joey, thank you, man.
Straightest
jump ball. Yeah. It's hard. It's a tough thing to do. I coach children, and throwing a jump ball for them is like impossible. It's a challenging thing to do. Anyway, that's gonna be it. Joey, you're the best. RoundBall Rock, go find it. It's the best podcast there is. Celebrity game talk, all that good stuff. The Patreon's wonderful as well. You can find me at Woodley Sean on the Garbage website. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us in the Discord. Link in the description. Come hang out. Would love to see you. And we will talk to you again on Monday as we talk about Scottie Barnes and Team All-Stars triumphant victory in the Skills Challenge. Bye-bye.